We are back with the BAMREF Show, and I'm glad to have your company. I'm here, Joel's here, the BAMREF chairman, and I'm delighted to say we are joined by Phil Shirley, who is the lead for the Core X program. It's a program developed to bring, by the PHMO, to bring black and brown referees through to the refereeing system. And on the show this week, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about when is a VAR image not a VAR image? So much to come from that Man City game. Phil's going to give us a sneak preview of some of the exciting young talents in the Core X program. But let's start with the Independent Football Regulator. Now, I know it's not sexy. I know it's not one of those ones that you normally talk about with your friends or in your private moments. But we are asking the guys here, what does it mean in terms of the Independent Football Regulator for referees of colour? What is it that it will do for them? Joel?
Well, what can I say? When, obviously, we got invited, as BAMREF, got invited to the meeting, as I would say. It's called Round the Round Table. Can't disclose too much because of Chatham House rules, okay? So, because of this, it was a case of, right, let's sit down. They sat down and there was, many different people in the room. I won't disclose any because
You want to tell me, don't you?
I can't tell you.
You want to tell me?
Because of Chatham House
You can
rules.
tell me.
Policies.
If I suggest it, will you just cough once?
So you can not suggested anything, yeah. So whilst we were in the room, Phil and I were in the room along with others, I noticed that they brought up quite a lot of footballing arenas. And when I say arenas, they brought up clubs, they brought up spectators, they brought up grounds, they brought up their policies. But one thing which I didn't see in it was referees. So before I was going to ask the question about referees, I wanted to know how much teeth did they have? If a club, or as it was a policy for clubs, if they didn't adhere to the guidelines of the recommendations from this independent governing body panel, what was going to happen? I asked that quite early. Still waiting for the answer in the nicest possible. A lot of people came back and said it's a great question, but it just seems to me that they have no teeth.
Well, I want to read you something. I did a bit of digging, and I'm going to read verbatim. The Independent Football Regulator does not have a direct mandate to manage referee diversity, but it requires clubs to report on their equality, diversity and inclusion efforts, which increases transparency and indirect accountability for the industry as a whole. In other words, we didn't think of that.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. They thought of everything else apart from refereeing. And I'm thinking, well, why?
Listen, you're the BAMREF chairman. What are you thinking? Because you have 700 people within the BAMREF cohort. That has to be a huge source of disappointment for all of you guys.
Not only that, there's 39,000 referees, okay? But I'm just saying, for those that which are in the BAMREF cohort, I'm like, hold on a minute. You can't play a game without it being refereed.
To be fair, it's all about, do you feel included? And I don't. I feel more included now than we did. And there's still a long way to go. And so some of these people that are making up the rules or talking about the rules and what they can and cannot do, the fact of the matter is they can overcome some of these obstacles if, to my mind, the desire is there to achieve the ultimate goal of making sure that everybody feels included. So, and I mainly speak from a fan's point of view, as opposed to an officiator as such. So, it's about total inclusion when you go to the grounds, when you see people within the game, when you see the people that are officiating in the game. Do you believe that everybody's getting the equal chance that their skills would demand that they're able to progress? And at times, I don't think that is the case. Work is being done to try and achieve that. let's not hide away from that fact. My point of view from BAMREF is quite simple, that we will provide them with the talent that can progress. End of.
John's right though, you are working hard. I introduced you as the BAMREF Core X
Yeah.
lead.
Yeah.
So much work you're doing with so many young people,
Yeah.
so many older people as well.
Yeah.
And yet you go to the meetings, you sit around the tables, you look at what is in place for your work to bear fruit. Nothing.
Unfortunately, that is the case. But, you know, one of the things that BAMREF are looking to try and achieve is to break down some of those barriers. Where there is currently or has previously been nothing, that there will be something.
There'll be people watching this saying, okay, that sounds great. How?
Well, I think the main thing that we have to do is to just keep delivering the message. So, you know, we provide them with the talent and we see how the talent progress. How does that compare to other people who are progressing? That may not be people of colour, whether they be male or female. But, you know, what is the talent that we've got? What do they need to do to achieve more? What's stopping them? And how can we help them to actually break through? So the main thing that we're looking to try and do is to make sure that those who say, well, they haven't got this and they haven't got that, well, we'll give them this and that to make sure that they have the credentials to go forward in a meaningful manner, to be considered for further inclusion and progression within the officiating as far as football is concerned. This is really, really important. So from a BAMREF point of view, what we can do is just keep banging the drum and providing the talent.
Some of it is ignorance. And when they say ignorance is bliss, because they look at this and they think, that's not for us, so let's just hide it. Let's not talk about it. If we talk about this, we're going to raise a problem.
George, do you think this speaks to the fact that there isn't that diversity in the upper echelons of the PGMO or even within the IFR team to be able to say, hang on a minute, you've done all of this, but what about the black people?
Well, when they put this...
And forgive me for being crude, but I suppose it's time to speak in that way.
It's honest, it's time to speak, but, you know, who put these organisations together? Let's talk about the IFA. So who put this organisation together? Where did they get these people from that are going to be governing the sport? The questions I wanted to ask was, what qualifies you in order to be in this governance? What is it? Just another, this is my mate, you've got a job, mate. Do you know what I mean? With that fact that we've asked to be sat at the table, I'm quite happy for that. You know, it's a movement in the right direction in regards to change, in regards to the fact that there is no acknowledgement of any referees. What's the point? Because it's not in part of their governance. So if refereeing is, and they're saying, well, that's not down to you, everything else is in the governance, but apart from referees.
Right. So I'm a black or Asian referee. I'm sitting at home or on the bus watching the BAMREF Show on my phone. And I'm seeing you express the concerns, rightly so, very well indeed. What is my chairman telling me he's going to do next to make sure that he addresses this? I'm talking about what next now, because obviously
they had to go back. They had to go back and they had to share the frustrations which we had.
Yes.
And then it's then going to come back. Now the policy's out in December, I believe. So let's see if there's, but it's kind of gone away. So
we'll see.
We'll see. There might be a version 2.
Well, what do we think version 2, Phil, or what are we hoping will be in version 2?
In a word, more inclusion.
There's 2.
Do you think there'll be more? Do you honestly think, with what you heard in the room, yeah? Now you sat next to me, with what you heard in that room, do you believe that there'll be any more inclusion for referees?
No, not on the basis of what I saw there, but from one of the suggestions that was being put forward was that all these clubs need licenses, right? Now, if you have licenses and it's part of that particular aspect for them to actually get the license, the initial license and then the full license, it needs to be in the policy, all right? And then they start to manage that. And they start to manage that within timescales, as opposed to, well, you've got 2 years to sort this out. And then, you know, after 18 months, they don't do nothing. And then they try to do something in the last 6 months. So it's monitored every 3 to 6 months. So it's in the policy, This is what you need to do, and this is how we're going to be monitoring it.
But here's a question for you, Phil.
Go on.
Who is the referees responsible for? As you said, the clubs, it's in their policy.
Yeah.
So the clubs, this is going to be down to your licence. Yeah. So who's the clubs are going to say, we speak to the FA, we speak to the PGMOL to get our appointment. We don't have any governance over this. So who's going to govern the governors?
That's the $1 million question, really, to be fair. And Joel, you're quite right. The people who govern this process are the ones that need to be looked at, because they're the ones in control.
Because the clubs are going to say, hey, listen, we've got so much governance, we want our licence. We are going to be in accordance with diversity, and diversity's in there. We've done this, we've done that. This is our action plan, but we can't do anything for the referees, because the referees are sent to us from the FA or the PGMOL. So how are we, as such, going to do any governance on this?
We are going to stay across this issue because clearly it is of the utmost importance for all BAMREF referees, whether you're around the table or not. As you can see, we've got two guys who are in the room. Ajibola, the CEO, has also been in the room as well. We'll get him back on the show next week. What I want to do, though, is talk more to you, Phil, about the talent, because obviously you're producing the talent that you can knock down the door with and say, these are the young people who are on the conveyor belt waiting to get their pathway opened up into the big time. How much talent is there?
Well, at the moment, through the Core X program, this year we have 57 referees that are going through the program, of which 27 are on the performance level, so they're at the upper end of that. Wow. So I'm not going to go into names, because there may be some names that come to mind and other people are my name is Richard.
It's just me.
It's just the two of us. I understand that. You were instrumental in the Core X program becoming something that now exists.
It's just feeling like the Oscars, everyone wants to thank everyone else. But Joel, go ahead, take your credit.
So we'll go back. Rewind the clock back to 2019. So 2019, myself and Aji, we were asking the question, where are the black refs? Okay? Couldn't find the black refs. I won't mention any names, but some of the derogatory comments there that were prisons. I've never been to prison. I'm not against anyone that has been to prison. But I was like, hold on a minute. I'm a referee. I've never been to prison. I'm a professional person. Why are you saying that we should go to prisons to find black people to be a referee? I was like, no. Anyway, we fast forwarded on a bit. Then they said, let's have a working group.
Forgive me. My mind is kind of blown by that. So I'm going to just go back to that for a second.
I tried to kind of go over it quickly. But yeah, no, seriously. So when we went...
So you were in a meeting.
I was in a meeting.
Where the question was asked where the black referees are. Where can we go to recruit black men to potentially become referees?
Yes.
And around that table, the suggestion came up, you should go to prisons.
No. So, clarity, truth. So we was around the table and they said, apart from the 4 that we know, which was myself, Ajibola, Sam Allinson, and Sonny Gill, where can we find other referees?
Right.
So we said there's others in level 4, there's others in level 3, but they're not coming through the system because as at that time, and it's still known as the black man's graveyard, because that's where black referees, they don't sift through. If they've got through, it's a case of, how did he get here? So it was, well, we need to do more, we need to do some marketing. Can I suggest, the person said that we go to prisons. I said, you are. I said, you want, hold on a minute. So you can't find any of the black referees around, not in level 4, never level 3, but you're saying that you want to go to prisons.
So just what's your take on this?
I don't have sufficient articulation of words to describe how I feel from what I've just heard. That is just unbelievable. But yeah, believable. All right, that's just horrendous. What more can I say?
I mean, they did as a insight into the perception of black men and where you can find them and how you can find them. It tells you so much about the way in which black men are perceived by the establishment.
By some of the establishment, I would say some of the establishment. So I kicked back massively on this, and I said I wouldn't endorse this. This is not something which we would. I'm not against anybody that's been to prison, but to go to prisons fundamentally to look for what are you saying? What's your narrative?
How did you get from there to Corex?
I'm coming. So I said they couldn't find any. So core in itself, which is Central Referee Excellence, but there's still blockages there. And when I'm saying blockages, because the referees have to be nominated through their county. And as they're coming through their county, if your RDO, which is your Referee Development Officer, doesn't fancy you for the colour of your skin, he's not going to put you forward, which we know this is fact.
So that there's anecdotal evidence.
There's massive out there. Yeah, there is. Not all. Some are really good, but there are some counties which because they might not like the name of the look of your name. You're passed over. So I said, you know what? I'm going to create my own. What? You can't do that. Yeah, we can. So we sat down with the FA. The FA were, they wanted to work with us on it, but then we sat down with the PGMO. And they said, yes, we can, and we will fund this. So hats off, credit where credit is due. So we then said, listen, we've got funding from the PGMO. We've got referees, which we're going to look for from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, all the way down. We've then got the ERDP, which is for the Elite Referees Development Program for them to go into. So we've now created a pathway for referees from diverse backgrounds who are getting blocked from their counties, who can't get recognition onto core, which is run, to now come onto the CoreX program.
Okay. Let's do some BAMREF. Watch. Let's get you with that. Right, now the first incident we're going to look at is in the Manchester City game. It was Ruben Diaz who was judged to have played a player onside, I should say, although lots of Manchester City fans say that the offside line was drawn near Ruben Diaz's elbow, so they're not happy with that. And they also, because they say that, listen, arms and hands don't count for offside, they say the boundary line should be the bottom of the armpit, not the elbow. Was it offside?
No. It wasn't offside. Listen, it's not the FA rules, it's laws of the games. Okay, that's the first thing. So it's laws of the games. So laws of the games quite clearly states that anything below where your t-shirt or the shirt that you're wearing at the time, that is classed. That is going to be a handball incident. Okay, but if it's above, it's not. And that's what they've done there. They've homed in on where his shirt is, where the line is, and it's not offside. Because you can score with that body part, and it's not classed as handball.
Right, now, the other thing that came out from that was two images side by side. In one of them, Diaz is not jumping. In the animated image, he is jumping. And fans quite understandably asking why. Phil?
I think we're talking about two different moments in time. The part that is most important is where was he and what was he doing at the time the ball was struck. All right. So you have two different images that may be milliseconds apart. So it's all about where was he and was he offside or onside at the time the ball was struck. Boils down to that.
You're starting to sound like him.
That's right, because he's following the laws of the game.
Okay. Third thing, Phil Foden in full flight. Player comes in from his right. The game is goalless. It's the 17th minute. The player comes in, defender comes in. He clearly misses the ball and takes Phil Foden out. You say no penalty, right?
No penalty. If he'd scored, we'd have said great goal. But he's gone wide. He's kicked the ball wide. So, would you want another chance?
But isn't there the concept of endangering
but
given opponent?
no, but yes, there is. But you've got to put it into when I say put it into context, we always say this like around the pitch where, oh yeah, if that happened anywhere else on the pitch, if a player gets fouled after the ball, the referee looks. Good referee is he looks to see if there's advantage. If there is an advantage, he then says play on. Okay, he then says play on. They go down the other end, score the goal. You don't worry about what's happened 30, 40 yards there. So, because that's the next phase of play. So the next phase of play is that he's got the ball, he's shot, he's missed. Unlucky, my friend.
Okay, Phil?
Well, I think the question I want to ask a question of, because I'm not familiar with the incident.
I do love how you're looking for a camera too.
Right.
Absolutely. Okay.
I just want to understand, did anything happen to the player that put that challenge on Foden?
No.
Right? Because the thing that from a fan's point of view, and I think it's very important that people understand, I'm not a football match official, all right? So I'm looking at this from a fan's point of view. So to some extent, some people may say from an ignorant point of view. But the thing that I would look at is this. If he had got the shot off and the ball went in the net.
He did get the shot.
And the ball went in the net, but that challenge came afterwards and hurt him. What happens then?
I think you're going to give the goal, aren't they? They're going to say, well, let's go back
Yeah,
for a
but
penalty.
what about the challenge afterwards?
Well, you might sanction. You might sanction.
Would you give him a booking? I'm just asking a question.
No, because you could. Everyone's scoring a goal.
Yeah.
You might say to the player, "Be careful. It's a bit late. You understand what you start to empathise. Yeah. If you just got to mow him down.
If that challenge happens outside the box,
Yeah.
he gets his pass away. The player comes in late, takes him out. Are you giving him a yellow card?
I'm going to stop depending where the play's gone to. So if it's gone back to if it's gone to the home team being Newcastle, and it's gone to one of their players, I'm going to caution and give a free kick.
So if you do that outside the box, why are you not giving it?
Because I'm seeing where the play's developed to.
So if he gets his shot away,
Yeah.
it goes into the side netting. Are you giving a penalty?
No.
Okay. One more to bring you. And it occurred in the game between Chelsea and Burnley at Turf Moor. It was Benoit Badiashile on the back post. Ball is being played into the box from a corner. Badiashile is restraining the defender from entering the field of play on the back post. Now, the interesting thing about this is that it is seen by the referee. The referee books Badiashile. Why doesn't he give a penalty?
First of all, the play could have been dead play. I haven't seen
No, the ball is on its way into
I
the
haven't
box.
seen- so-
No, the ball, trust me, the ball is in the
So when does the referee book him?
Well, he stops the play and he books him.
So the ball is coming in and he stops the play?
Yeah.
Right, so he stopped the play. So the play stopped. So he's seen what he's done. He's cautioned him. The ball hasn't come in. If you travel down there and two players are there, you don't say, oh, by the way, let me give a penalty.
The ball is on its way into the
but he
box.
stopped the play.
Yeah, but while the ball is on its way
Yeah,
into
so he stopped the play. So it's not in that play. It hasn't hit heads and whatever it had. No one's headed the ball. Hasn't made a difference.
Okay.
He stopped the play.
If the ball's on its way into the box,
And I blow the
and
whistle
then-
when I stop play.
you're refereeing.
Yeah. And
You're
I'll stop.
refereeing again.
Yeah.
I know you're not a official, right? Let's say Phil's playing.
Yeah.
Phil is a defender,
Yeah.
and he attempts to reach the ball and
Yeah.
fouls an opposition player in doing so while the ball is on its way into the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
Is that a foul?
No, because what's the referee's status is the ball's dead, even though the ball's flown through the air, it's still a dead ball phase, and I'm going to caution the player for what he's doing. I'm not going to give a penalty. I'm going to go back to the restart of where the corner has got to be taken again, and then we can go from there. And I'm sure that's what the referee did. I haven't seen it. I'm sure that's what the referee did.
Phil?
Again, let's make it very clear. I'm a Chelsea fan, so I'm going to be speaking from a Chelsea point of view. All right. So from my point of view, a great decision. That nothing more happened than that. However, having said that, the interesting thing, and this is where a lot of people start to learn more about the officiating of the game. The play had actually stopped while the ball was still in transit.
Exactly.
Right. So therefore, as on the basis of that, the booking was fine. All right. Stop it. Don't do it again. As opposed to it being a penalty.
Had it been a Burnley player holding,
Send him off.
but
but no, let's make it clear. You know, that's from a fan's point of view. This is how fans think. You know that, right? Okay, what's good for one person isn't necessarily good for somebody else. It depends on whether it's on my team or not. But in fairness, when I saw it first on TV earlier on today, I thought, oh,
yeah, you're worried. Weren't you?
I was concerned. All right, that something might be given there that could be to the detriment of Chelsea and the scoreline. I did think that. But the fact of the matter is, with the benefit of hindsight and listening to other people and listening to Joel, the play had stopped whilst the ball was in transit. And that's what we mustn't forget.
Well, the play stops. That's it. It's just like a referee can caution players going down the tunnel. There's no ball in play, is there?
The ball's not its way into the box.
Yeah, but you can. Yeah, but exactly. So the play's stopped. The referee can still caution.
At least agree with me that that's insane.
I think that under the circumstances, you know, at what point, when somebody takes a corner, can you stop the play as soon as the ball's kicked before it's reached its destination?
Well, it depends. You listen. When you manage in these dead ball situations, there's a lot. So you're going to say
it's not an offence. It's a yes or no.
No, it's not, because there's a lot more factors that come into it.
You're refereeing a game.
Yeah.
Someone takes a corner.
Yeah.
Are you going to blow up for full time?
No, I'm going to see the play out.
Right.
I'm going to see the play out.
Okay. Well, on this occasion, and I forget the match where this actually happened, but you can check it for yourselves. And it was an English ref that did this, and I think it was a quarter-final of a World Cup game at some stage. But one of the things,
just 9 minutes though, isn't it?
Just in finishing, what I will say is that coming into BAMREF, I'm now starting to work with officiators, and I'm starting to look at the game, not from a fan's point of view or a team manager's point of view, but from the ref's point of view.
Well, you and I were thinking of doing our referee course.
Well, let's make this very clear, because Darren does like to look in the camera when he's making a point. And you did say some time ago, if Phil does it, you will do it. And I do intend to become a ref, and I will start that process to make sure that if I'm going to be a part of this process, then I need to become a ref myself. And I'm sure I'll be able to find a game at some level and pace that I'll be able to keep up with at my own age.
I will be cheering you on.
Thank you.
Actually, we will watch that particular space, because it might well be the case that I'll take a look at that. It does look fun. They do take stick, but they do a fabulous job. So we want you to come back and join us next week. We'll have another referee in the chair with Joel and myself. We also want to hear from you if you are in non-league, if you follow a non-league team, if you play for a non-league team, or if you officiate at that level as well. Get in touch with us. We want to hear from you, your stories, your experiences, your viewpoints as well on the state of officiating at the moment. Has there been something in your game that you want to tell us about? Tell me, I'll tell them. We'll get to the bottom of that. We might not necessarily agree, but that's the beauty of the BAMREF Show. I'll see you next week.